Have you ever trusted someone so much that you couldn't even imagine them betraying you? That's where I was. My wife told me she was going on a girls' trip to Miami. I thought it was innocent. But while I was at home waiting for her calls, she was out there betraying me in the worst way possible. What she didn't know was that I wasn't the kind of husband to just sit quietly. My revenge was cold, smart, and unforgettable. My name's Daniel. I'm 34 years old, and I'd been married to my wife, Julia, for almost 10 years. Julia was beautiful, outgoing, the type who lit up every room. She worked as a marketing manager, always surrounded by people, always in the middle of the fun. Me? I was the steady one. I worked in finance, not flashy, but reliable. Together, we had what I thought was a strong partnership. So when Julia came home one evening, tossing her bag on the couch and saying, "The girls and I are planning a trip to Miami," I didn't think much of it. She said it was just us girls, a little vacation to relax and recharge. I kissed her forehead and told her to enjoy herself. Looking back, that blind trust was my mistake. The first night she was gone, she called me. Loud music blasted in the background, and she shouted into the phone, "Love you, babe," before hanging up. I smiled, even though I felt a little uneasy. By the second night, the calls turned into short texts. By the third night, there was nothing at all. That pit in my stomach grew heavier with each hour. Something wasn't right. When she came back a week later, I knew immediately. She hugged me, but it was quick, stiff, like hugging a stranger. She smelled of a perfume I'd never smelled before, and she never put her phone down. Every time I walked into the room, she tilted the screen away. That was the moment I stopped being blind. A few days later, proof landed in my lap. Rachel, one of her so-called friends, sent me photos. She claimed she was sick of Julia acting like she was perfect, so she wanted me to see the truth. My hands shook as I scrolled through the pictures. There was Julia, my wife, kissing some guy at a rooftop bar in Miami. Then more photos. Julia holding his hand, laughing, stumbling out of a hotel with him at dawn. I sat there in silence, staring at the evidence. 10 years of marriage, burned to ashes in 1 week. But instead of blowing up right then, I decided to wait. If she thought she was smart, I'd show her what real planning looked like. That night, I made her favorite meal, lasagna with garlic bread, the dish I always cooked for anniversaries. She walked in, surprised but smiling, clearly thinking everything was fine. We sat at the table, and halfway through the meal, I said casually, "So, Julia, how was Miami? Did you enjoy your time with him?" Her fork froze. "What are you talking about?" she stammered. I slid my phone across the table. "Rachel sent me these." Her face went white. Tears filled her eyes instantly. "Daniel, it was a mistake. I was drunk. It didn't mean anything." I leaned back, keeping my voice calm. "You don't trip and fall into someone's bed. You chose this. And now, I'm choosing divorce." She begged. She sobbed. She promised it would never happen again. But the switch had already flipped in my heart. Once trust is gone, it never comes back. The next morning, while she was at work, I packed my bags and left divorce papers on the counter with a note. "Enjoy your freedom. You earned it." I also froze our joint account and canceled the credit cards I paid for. Her reaction was explosive. She called me nonstop, showed up at my office crying, even dragged her family into it. Her mother called, pleading with me to forgive her. Her sister said, marriages go through rough times, but none of them were the ones betrayed. None of them saw those photos. And karma? It hit hard. The guy she cheated with, he blocked her the moment she got home. He wasn't looking for love, just a fling. Julia ended up with nothing. No husband, no lover, and no money to fall back on. Meanwhile, I moved forward. I focused on my job, started hitting the gym again, and reconnected with friends I'd neglected. For the first time in years, I felt free. Months later, Julia showed up at my door, makeup smeared, eyes red from crying. "I miss you, Daniel. I made the biggest mistake of my life." I looked her straight in the eye and said, "You're right, it was the biggest mistake, but it's yours to live with, not mine." Then I closed the door. Her Miami trip was supposed to be a getaway. Instead, it cost her everything. That's what betrayal brings. Karma and consequences you can't escape. If you liked the video, please subscribe and turn on notifications.